Okay, now here in lesson 14, now that you've learned about seventh chords, we're going to start using them in a song. And so this will be song number 4 that we're going to play. Another very familiar tune, My Country 'Tis of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty. This is a good one to be playing on the 4th of July, I would say. So we're going to be using the 7th chord, and then as we switch to the overhead camera, I'm going to show you a few other things that will make this easier for you to play. All right, we're going to get ready to play song number 4 here, My Country 'Tis of Thee. And there are a few things I would like to explain before we get to it. The first thing is we need to look at the fact that there's an F sharp there, and that's the key signature. You see the F sharp there on the first line, right there, right after the treble clef, before you get to the time signature, there's a sharp sign hanging out on the F line. And that means we have a new key signature. So a key signature is essentially what you see at the beginning of the song and at the beginning of every line, depending on what kind of lead sheet you're looking at, and it tells you what key the song is in. So we're going to be playing songs in different keys. The first couple of songs that we played, the first few songs, were in the key of C major. Now we're in a different key. And there's a very easy way to tell what key a song is in, depending on where the sharps or flats are at the beginning. So you'll notice there's just one sharp, and it's on the F line. So it's F sharp. And it represents F sharp, and it means that every time you're playing this melody, anytime you see an F, it's now F sharp. And that's the way it will work in the key of G major. Every key that we are playing in now is based on a scale, and the scale is G is the root note. It's the root note of the G major chord. It's also the beginning note of the G major scale. And if we don't play that F sharp, it doesn't sound quite right. Notice how C major, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Oh boy, I'm a piano player, not really a singer. But notice we're playing that scale. It's all on white keys, and it sounds perfectly fine. That sounds normal, doesn't it? But if we start to play a scale on G, if we don't change that note, it sounds a little strange. So we've got to change it to this F sharp. And that's why there is an F sharp indicated in the key signature. Now, the easy way to tell what key a song is in, because we're going to eventually be seeing key signatures with multiple sharps. So you look for the last sharp, which in this case there's only one, so it's F sharp. And then you go up a half step and find the key right next to it. It's G. That means we're in the key of G major. You'll find this works every time because we do have several key signatures with all sharps. Just look for that last sharp. Go up half a step. You can do this mentally, of course. And you'll say, oh yes, F sharp, the next note after that is G. I'm in the key of G major. It's based on this scale. And so as we look at this song, you'll notice that the melody is based on the G major scale. And now, here's how we're going to play those 7th chords. G major, 1, 2, 3. So now you got to play 4 notes. There they are. So if you got little teeny tiny hands, this may be a little tough, but that's how we do it. And then we put the melody together. So remember, you can start by playing through the chords. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No chord indicated. Play the same chord again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I want you to notice one other thing. When we get down to the last two measures, notice it quickly goes from C, G, D7, G. And it's kind of hard to jump from C to back up to G. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to show you how to invert chords. So here's an important concept that you need to remember. Remember I told you how every chord is named after its root note. So for example, here's C major, and you'll notice that C is the root of the chord, and it's also the note after which the chord is named. But the root of a chord is not always necessarily the bottom note of the chord. You can invert the chord by changing the notes around. Still got the same three notes, but for example, you can take C major and play it this way. Now, the root is on top, still the root. You know, we always think of root as being something at the bottom, like the root of a tree. But in music, the root can be anywhere. In this case, it's on the top, but it's still the root. I hope that makes sense. And in this inversion, which we call this one first inversion. This one is second inversion. Now the root is in the middle. And if we invert it again, now we're back to the way we were before. So we get to these last three chords. Instead of playing it this way, we could do this. Notice I'm still playing C major. The root's in the middle. This is in second inversion. And then we can go right back to G. So notice how smooth that is for your hand. So let's play this together. One other thing that I want to emphasize before we leave this song is in classical music, what fingers you use are very important. And a lot of times you'll see little numbers written above or below the notes to tell you which fingers to use. This would be finger 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And I'm not going to go into this into too much detail because in this style of music, use whatever fingers feel comfortable. Now you'll notice I started with this finger. You could also start with this one. I started with this one because it's a little more comfortable not to have to use your thumb on a black key. And then you can shift over here. The whole idea is to find fingering that is comfortable and that enables you to play the melody smoothly. Trial and error is a lot of what you end up doing to do this. So once again, you have the freedom to play this in however you want to do it. You can play the melody up here. You can play the chords differently, use different inversions. There's a lot of experimentation that I want you to do. And that's how we're going to play My Country 'Tis of Thee.